Have you ever felt like you're just stuck in the learning process, I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You read, you study, you put in the hours, but it never quite clicks, It doesn't become effortless.
That gap, right, between knowing about something and really truly knowing it intuitively.
Exactly. It's so frustrating, whether it's like a new language or maybe some complex software or even just trying to get your head around concepts for work. That feeling of trying to make it stick, we're all chasing that.
It's the classic learning challenge, isn't it? That leap from thinking hard about every step to just doing it, flowing with it.
Right. When it moves from something you do to something that's just part of how you think.
Exactly. It becomes integrated. And that leap, well, that's fundamental to real expertise, really, in anything.
And today, we're actually going to unpack some surprising secrets to bridging that exact gap. We're pulling insights from what might seem like an unexpected place.
Okay.
It's excerpts from Think in English, A1, A2 Fluency Practice by the English Podcast Lab.
Ah, interesting. Language learning material.
Right, but this isn't just about learning English. We think it's a fantastic masterclass in the whole process of, absorbing knowledge effectively, how to actually acquire skills.
That makes sense. Often the most fundamental learning principles are hidden in plain sight, in resources for beginners.
Yeah.
Because they have to break it down, right?
Exactly. And what's so insightful here is how this material, designed for basic language learning, offers these really profound, transferable methods for getting good at stuff fast in pretty much any area. They've kind of distilled complex cognitive ideas into these simple, actionable practices.
Practices anyone can use. I like that. It suggests those deep insights often come from, well, seemingly simple sources.
Totally. So our mission today on the deep dive is to really unpack these core methods from the English Podcast Lab. We want to look at the principles behind them.
Get under the hood a bit.
Yeah. And figure out why these simple practices work so well for learning quickly, not just for English, but for, building mastery in whatever field you're interested in.
So this deep dive is kind of a shortcut to understanding the how of learning effectively.
That's the goal. Learning how to learn, essentially, more efficiently, more deeply, and feeling better about it too. So let's jump in.
And the first big hurdle, the foundational problem that the English Podcast Lab really focuses on, is something that trips up almost everyone learning something new.
Okay, what is it?
It's that constant translation, that invisible friction it creates.
Ah, yes. The translation trap. The source is really clear about this, isn't it? It calls it a common pitfall, translating from your native language. And it says quite explicitly, this takes time and feels slow, stressful, or confusing.
And we've all felt that, haven't we? Trying to speak a new language.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Your brain is doing this crazy dance, right? First, think the thought in English or whatever your native language is.
Step one.
Then mentally translate it word by painful word into the language you're learning.
Step two.
And then finally, try to actually say it out loud.
It's exhausting just describing it, like trying to have a normal chat while doing complex math problems in your head.
Exactly. So why is this such a problem beyond just feeling slow? What's happening cognitively speaking?
Well, it's about adding this completely unnecessary extra step. Think about it like cognitive load.
Okay.
Cognitive load is basically the total mental effort you're using in your working memory at any given moment. When you translate, your brain is trying to run two processes at once.
Native language thought and target language translation.
Right. And they often compete, so your mental energy gets split, fragmented, instead of being focused on just understanding or speaking directly.
Which naturally would slow down real-time understanding.
Hugely. And it kills spontaneous speech. You can't be spontaneous if you're constantly performing that translation calculation.
And neurologically, what's going on there? Is it like we're building weaker brain connections or something?
That's a great way to think about it. When you're always translating, you're not forming a strong, direct link between the concept, say, the feeling of happiness, and the word for it in the new language.
Like alegría in Spanish.
Exactly. Instead, your brain links happiness in English to alegría, but it also has to maintain the link between happiness and the actual feeling. It's constantly bouncing back and forth.
So it's like taking the scenic route every single time.
Yeah.
Instead of the direct highway from the feeling to the new word.
Precisely. You're building an associative chain, native word to foreign word, rather than concept to foreign word, and that chain is just inherently slower.
More likely to break under pressure too, I bet.
Absolutely. It creates friction. And the English Podcast Lab source really emphasizes those feelings. Slow, stressful, confusing.
Yeah.
You can see it in learners, can't you? That little pause before they speak.
The hesitation. Searching for the word.
Maybe furrowing their brow, or just feeling completely drained after a short conversation.
It's like mental weightlifting when you just want to have a chat.
Exactly. Running a marathon with ankle weights on. Every single word requires way more effort than it should.
Okay, so this is huge, and it makes me think, this isn't just about language, is it? This drag of translation feels like it applies everywhere.
How do you mean?
Well, think about learning new software. Do you find yourself constantly thinking, okay, in the old program, I clicked this button. So what's the equivalent here?
Ah, right. Translating between interfaces instead of just learning the new flow directly.
Yeah, or a musician learning a piece. Are they just reading notes and mechanically translating them to finger positions? Or are they starting to feel the music, letting it flow?
Good example. Or sports. Constantly analyzing your swing mechanics versus just developing that intuitive feel for the ball.
Right. This over-analysis, this mental translation from one system or way of thinking to another. It definitely slows us down.
Saps energy.
And it stops us from reaching that state of true fluid mastery, doesn't it? It keeps us thinking about the skill rather than thinking in the skill.
It's a bottleneck, a cognitive choke point. And the solution proposed by the English Podcast Lab is, well, it sounds simple, but it's profound.
Okay, what is it?
Think in English directly, naturally.
Directly, naturally. Okay, that's where it gets really exciting. Because this idea, thinking directly, is framed as the big transformative solution. The source lists some pretty powerful outcomes. Learners speak faster, they understand better, their brain actually gets faster.
Starts to processing.
Yeah. They feel more confident, and maybe most importantly, they begin to speak without fear.
That's a huge claim. It implies a fundamental shift in how the brain is working.
So let's unpack that phrase directly, naturally. What does that actually mean in practice? What does it feel like?
It means getting beyond word-for-word translation. It's about grasping concepts and expressing them within the new language's framework, just like a native speaker does.
Okay.
Think about it. When you see a dog, you don't think, oh, a member of the species Canis familiaris, which translates to the English word dog.
No, you just think dog.
Right. The concept and the word are directly linked. That's the goal. Bypassing your native language entirely, you build a direct connection between the thing, the idea, the feeling, and the new word or the new action.
No intermediary.
No intermediary. Your brain starts to map the world directly onto the new system, whether it's English words, programming syntax, or cooking techniques.
And that bit about the brain gets faster.
Yeah.
That sounds like neuroplasticity in action, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's the brain rewiring itself for efficiency. The more you practice thinking directly in that new way.
The stronger and faster those specific neural connections become.
Exactly. Think of myelin, that fatty sheath that insulates nerve fibers. Practice builds up that myelin, making the signals your thoughts travel much, much faster along those pathways.
So you're literally building mental superhighways.
That's a great analogy. You're optimizing the internal processing speed. It's cognitive fluency before you even speak or act, shifting from being an interpreter in your own head to just thinking.
Wow. Okay. And how does that connect to confidence and losing the fear?
Well, the fear often comes from that risky translation process, right? The fear of messing up the translation, of sounding stupid, of pausing too long.
Yeah, that self-consciousness.
But when the language or the skill becomes an intuitive extension of your thought, that constant self-monitoring decreases. The anxiety drops away because you're not performing anymore.
You're just being, communicating, doing.
Exactly. You start living in the skill, not just executing it.
Okay, let's broaden this out again. How does this direct thinking apply beyond language? You mentioned cooking.
Right. Think of a really good chef. They're not constantly recalling recipe measurements in their head, are they?
No, it seems much more intuitive.
They think directly in flavors, textures, heat, timing. They feel what the dish needs. It needs a bit more acidity. This needs a harder sear. They're working directly within the language of cooking.
Got it. Or a skilled coder.
Same idea. They're not usually writing out detailed pseudocode and then painstakingly translating it line by line into, say, Python.
They think more in algorithms, data structures.
Exactly. They think in the logic and the possibilities of the programming language itself. The code flows more organically from that direct, intuitive grasp.
So it's about making the skill an extension of your thought, not just a set of instructions you look up.
That's the essence of it, developing that intuitive grasp.
Okay, this is all fascinating conceptually, but how do we actually do it? How do we cultivate this direct thinking? Does the English Podcast Lab give us tools?
They do. Very practical ones. The first technique they introduce is called shadowing practice simple ideas.
Shadowing. Okay, I've heard of that. Mimicking, right?
Basically, yes. The method is listen to a sentence, pause, and then repeat it, trying to match the same tone and rhythm.
Okay.
But the key here is the simple ideas part. The examples they give are incredibly basic affirmative sentences.
Like what?
Things like, I am learning English, or I love speaking English every day.
Wow, very simple.
And also, I don't need to be perfect, I just need to try. English is not hard, it's just new.
Okay, there's a psychological angle there too.
Definitely. More examples. I speak slowly. I speak clearly. When I make mistakes, I learn. When I speak, I grow. I can speak with confidence.
It sounds like affirmations almost as much as language practice.
It is. And finally, I listen. I repeat. I think in English. And I enjoy this process. It's stripping it right back to basics.
So what's the mechanism here? Why does just repeating simple things help you think directly?
Because shadowing, even with simple stuff, trains multiple things at once. Your ear auditory processing, your mouth, tongue, lips, oral motor skills,
Okay.
plus pronunciation, intonation, the melody of the language, and the rhythm. You're mimicking the whole package, not just words.
So it's like muscle memory for your mouth and ears.
Exactly. You're internalizing the physical feel and sound of the language, making the act of speaking it less awkward, more natural.
And why the super simple sentences? Why not shadow, I don't know, a news report?
Cognitive load again. If you try shadowing something complex, your brain overloads. You're juggling, meaning grammar, vocab, and trying to mimic the sound.
Too much at once.
Way too much. With I am learning English, the meaning is trivial. You can pour all your mental energy into just matching the pronunciation, the flow, the rhythm.
Ah, I see. You isolate the skill of producing the sounds correctly.
Precisely. You build that foundational muscle memory and vocal confidence without the pressure of complex thought. It's like doing scales on a piano before playing a concerto.
Makes sense. And you mentioned the psychological aspect.
Yes, that's crucial. These phrases are not random. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to try. English is not hard. It's just new.
They directly tackle learner anxiety.
Exactly. They counter those self-limiting beliefs, the fear of mistakes that often freezes people up. It builds a growth mindset right into the practice.
So it's self-coaching while you practice the sounds.
You got it. It nurtures the resilience you need to stick with it.
Okay, so for someone listening, how could they adapt this, say, for public speaking?
Good question. Maybe shadow simple phrases that embody confidence. I am calm. I am clear. I connect with my audience. Focus purely on the tone, the pace, the vocal presence.
Or learning jargon for a new job. Shadowing key technical phrases slowly and clearly.
Perfect. Or adopting an accent for acting. The key is that slow and repeat instruction from the source. It's not about speed at first. It's about accuracy and internalizing the pattern.
Right. Getting the mechanics down, even imperfectly, it builds towards fluency.
Which leads really nicely into the next tool they offer. This one takes the direct thinking idea and weaves it into your daily life.
Okay.
It's called daily thinking practice.
Daily thinking practice. Sounds straightforward.
It is, deceptively so. The English Podcast Lab suggests thinking small thoughts in English, but, and this is key, without speaking aloud.
Ah, so it's purely internal.
Purely internal, and you do it during everyday moments, walking, cooking, or brushing your teeth, any mundane activity.
I love the phrase they use, real shadowing inside your mind.
Isn't that great? It perfectly captures it. You're running this constant low-level internal workout.
What's the big advantage of keeping it silent, internal?
It removes all the pressure, no fear of making audible mistakes, no self-consciousness, no need for a special time or place. It makes practice available literally anytime, anywhere.
So it helps normalize the language, makes it feel less like a foreign subject and more like just your thoughts.
Exactly. You're making it the default setting for your inner voice. It becomes an internal companion, not an external chore. Immersion without changing location.
And that idea of real shadowing inside your mind, it emphasizes that thinking is practice.
Active practice. You're silently rehearsing, connecting concepts to words, forming sentences, retrieving vocabulary. You're strengthening those direct neural pathways constantly, almost effortlessly.
Like countless little mental reps throughout the day.
Precisely. Solidifying connections without the extra effort of speaking out loud.
What kind of small thoughts do they suggest?
Again, brilliantly simple and universal things like, what time is it? Or, I am walking to work.
Just narrating your life.
Pretty much. I feel tired, but I'll keep going. Or I want a coffee. Maybe it's raining today. Or I have a meeting at 4 p.m.
Things everyone thinks anyway.
Right. They are concrete, immediate, relevant to your reality right now. That makes them easy to generate. You're not trying to invent complex scenarios.
That's sustainable. It doesn't feel like adding another task to your day.
It just integrates into your existing mental chatter.
Okay, so for the listener,
Yeah.
how could you apply this outside language? Say you're learning to code.
You could mentally narrate your coding process in the language's logic. Okay, defining a function here. This variable needs to hold the user ID. Now loop through this array.
Thinking the logic directly in the language of the code.
Exactly. Or a musician away from their instrument. Mentally rehearse a tricky passage, visualize the fingerings, hear the notes, feel the rhythm internally.
Or even prepping for a difficult conversation.
Yeah. Mentally run through short snippets. How could I phrase this question? What if they say that? How would I respond? It's bringing the practice into the flow of life.
Repurposing mental space you already have. Turning your mind into a 24/7 learning lab.
Beautifully put. And that internal practice then gets a natural upgrade with the third tool.
Which is,
Quick conversations in your mind.
okay, building on the internal thinking. How does this work?
It moves from just thinking isolated thoughts to having small mental dialogues. The instruction is to think the question and then answer the question in English.
An internal Q&A.
Exactly. And the source claims these internal chats build fluency fast.
Makes sense. What kind of questions and answers?
Again, very relatable, everyday stuff like, what do you want to eat today? I want some rice and vegetables.
Simple.
Or, what are you doing now?
I'm listening to a podcast and practicing English.
Very meta.
Right. Then more reflective ones. How do you feel?
Yeah.
I feel good. I feel relaxed. I feel proud.
Connecting with emotions.
And crucially, motivation. Why are you learning English? Because I want to travel and speak with people around the world. That's powerful. Linking the practice back to the bigger goal.
So it's stepping up the internal practice from just single thoughts to a simple back and forth.
Simulating conversation.
Yes, it trains your brain not just to form sentences, but to formulate questions and immediate responses. That quick reaction time is key for real dialogue.
Builds conversational agility.
And it's such a smart progression, isn't it? First, maybe just words, then simple shadowing, then internal thoughts, now internal dialogues.
Yeah, it's scaffolding. Like learning to ride a bike training wheels, then balancing, then steering.
Each step builds the cognitive muscle for the next one. It feels achievable, not overwhelming.
And the questions being personal and relevant must help too.
Immensely. Answering, why am I doing this? In the tardial language reinforces your motivation. It adds emotional weight, making the learning stickier. You connect the what of practice to the why of your goal.
Anchors the learning.
Deeply.
So for everyone listening, this idea of mental rehearsal feels very applicable, like athletes visualizing a game.
Exactly. Athletes mentally rehearse plays, visualizing every move, every reaction. Musicians practice difficult passages in their mind, hearing every note, feeling their fingers move.
Long before they actually perform.
Right. This internal dialogue, this mental simulation, it builds confidence. It reduces that performance anxiety when you face the real situation.
Because your brain has already been there mentally.
Precisely. The pathways are primed. The responses are more readily available. You're internalizing success before it even happens.
That's a fantastic set of tools.
Yeah.
Simple, progressive, powerful. What does the English Podcast Lab do next?
It brings everything full circle with a final reinforcement and reflection section, ending with, guess what?
More shadowing.
More shadowing, another round of it.
Why loop back to that?
Because this final round isn't just about locking in the sounds again. It's about cementing the mindset that underpins all of this.
Reinforcing the psychological foundation.
Exactly. The phrases they use here are like a powerful mantra for the learner.
What are they?
Things like, I think in English. I practice every day. And again, I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep going.
Reinforcing persistence and self-compassion.
Then, my English is improving. I am calm. I am focused. I am growing.
Focusing on progress and emotional state.
And finally, I speak with courage. I speak with joy. And ending with the commitment, I speak English every day.
Wow. That's a really holistic conclusion. It ties the mechanics to the motivation and the emotional experience.
It's the power of repetition combined with affirmation. Ending a practice session like this really cements the learning and boosts that self-belief you need to keep going.
It's like hitting save on the positive mental state.
Exactly. It recalibrates your internal narrative to one of growth and capability. You're training yourself to believe you can do it, not just practice the how.
And the focus shifts strongly to mindset there, doesn't it? Self-efficacy, persistence, managing emotions like calm and focus, even finding joy in it.
Which highlights a crucial truth. Learning is emotional and mental, not just intellectual. If you don't have the right mindset, the best techniques won't work.
You need that positive, resilient foundation.
And the English Podcast Lab clearly gets that. Mastery requires the whole package.
This also seems to drive home a final, big takeaway from the source material.
Which is?
Daily practice builds strong habits. That emphasis on consistency.
Ah, yes, absolutely critical. It's not about heroic, infrequent bursts of effort that lead to burnout.
Right. No 8-hour cram sessions once a month.
It's about those small, consistent, deliberate actions. 10 minutes, 15 minutes every single day.
That compounding effect.
Exactly. Those micro actions add up to transformative change over time.
And that principle obviously applies way beyond language. It's the key to forming any habit, isn't it?
Totally. Fitness, meditation, writing, learning code, playing an instrument, anything.
Consistent small steps lead to big progress. And maybe more importantly, they build that inner resilience.
You become a more disciplined, confident, persistent person through the process itself. It's not just what you learn, but who you become while learning it.
You become someone capable of that direct engagement, that true mastery.
Precisely.
Wow. Okay, you did it. We've just taken a really deep dive into these fascinating methods from the English Podcast Lab's Think in English material.
It's surprisingly rich stuff for A1, A2 level focus.
It really is. We've unpacked that huge shift from translation to direct thinking.
Leaving the drag behind.
We look at the power of shadowing both out loud, mimicking for muscle memory.
And silently, that shadowing inside your mind.
Yeah. And then building up to those internal dialogues, practicing conversation in your head to build fluency and confidence.
And we've really stressed that these aren't just random tips. It's a structured, progressive system.
A coherent approach to embedding a new skill, making it part of you.
Yeah, the principles are solid. It's efficient, effective learning distilled down.
And those core messages just keep resonating, don't they? Daily practice builds strong habits.
Consistency is king.
And the more you think in English, the more fluent you become. Which we can adapt, right? The more you think directly in coding logic, the better coder you become. The more you think directly in flavor combinations.
The better cook you become. Absolutely. The principles are universal. It's about shifting from passive learning or mental translation
to active, intuitive engagement. That feels like the key.
It's the path to effortless understanding and performance.
So this leaves us with a final thought, a challenge really, for you listening.
Okay, let's hear it.
If you take this core idea, thinking directly, inspired by the English Podcast Lab, and apply it to something you're passionate about learning right now.
Could be anything. Coding, design, music, critical thinking, mindfulness.
Right. What would it actually sound like or feel like to think directly in that specific area for you?
That's a great question. Moving beyond translating from how you used to think about it.
Exactly. What small, daily mental shadowing, maybe narrating your process internally, or what simple internal Q&A could you start today?
Just a little bit each day.
To make that new skill, that new way of thinking, truly your own. Not just something you know about, but something that flows from you naturally.
But making it an extension of who you are, that's the real goal.
That's your challenge, your own deep dive into your potential.
Something to really think about, and more importantly, something to try.
Until next time.